Jay here. We have a Rekluse TorqDrive clutch install for you right now. We're doing it on a YZ250F. Many of the tips will translate to other models you might have. So we're gonna lay this bike over and get started right now. All right, so we have the bike laid over on its side, which really makes it easy to work with. It makes it really nice. So we pulled out the used clutch. We have all of our parts here, our bolts for our cover. Everything's here, our gasket's still good. We have the new pieces, sleeves for our Rekluse TorqDrive. We have all those, everything's kind of ready. We put this in here and we push on this to get a screwdriver in here to hold this brake pedal down so we have plenty of room to work with. With the Rekluse product, they do a really good job of providing good instructions. It's nice, in some cases you'll need to measure the plates, but here we have all the dimensions and it tells you what parts you need that are all supplied. In this case, there's only one plate that's a different thickness, and that's this one right here. I like to soak the plates in advance, and so we'll drop them into a bath of oil, just like this, and let them soak for a few minutes. If you know you're doing a clutch in advance, you can let them soak for an hour or a day. It doesn't really matter how long. And just go like that. Let them soak while you're working on the rest of the bike, getting everything ready. So these are the sleeves that are exclusive to the Rekluse TorqDrive. And these sleeves will go over each slot in your basket, just like that. And if you put them on, actually you can't put them on backwards, but if you did, if you had them on this direction, they would fall out into the engine. So this, and they also won't go down all the way. That's another way you would be able to tell. So you collapse them and then just slide them in just like that. So here we go, our last one, just like that. And I like to go through and make sure they're all pushed out to the basket. Here's our stock pressure plate. One thing that's common is this piece right here will stick to here. So you want to make sure that that's still in place right there. And we have our plates and springs all ready to install. Okay, so our first plate's going to go in, and the first ones are a little bit tougher sometimes, but that one is real easy. And then we're just going to rotate these plates. There isn't really a specific, on the metal plates, people have wondered, there's a rounded edge. I tend to put this rounded, there's one edge that's more rounded and squared. It doesn't really matter which way it goes. I tend to put the rounded edge up. I get a lot of questions about how often you should change your clutch, and it all depends. On a trail bike or a dual sport bike, we will have a clutch in on some bikes, our dual sports, for years. 4, 5, 6 years, just fine. And we'll take them down and inspect them to make sure that they are fine. But then we have some bikes, like this bike, that can maybe only go 10 hours or 12 hours on a clutch. Get ridden hard by a guy too big and too hard on the clutch, and that's what will wear out a clutch more. Riding on sand tracks, like a big track like Glen Helen with uphills, and you're fanning and using the clutch more, that will wear out a clutch more. So we're just rotating these plates through real easy. In this case, the only plate that's different, the TorqDrive has additional plates. So we have more plates than a stock setup that are thinner, and that's why you get that good feeling. That's why they call it the TorqDrive. You get a really good feeling. Durability is really good. We have mini bikes that we cannot run the stock or other aftermarket clutches in, but the Rekluse will survive the abuse, the Rekluse TorqDrive. A lot of people think of Rekluse only makes auto clutches, as I've said before, but that is not the case. Got the TorqDrive, and a great option for guys that want a conventional clutch. Now in this case, here's our last plate. That's the thick one, and it's going to go on just like that. We're going to drop our pressure plate on, and you'll feel it get into its proper groove. I've had a buddy actually break a tab because he didn't get kind of in the right groove. There it goes. You can feel it get down into the groove where it's touching that first plate. I like to drop each of the springs in just like this. Yamaha has special bolts with washers built in for this part of it right here. So you'll need to make sure you run these. They seat into that spring. I'll go through and get them all started by hand. Yeah, my buddy, he didn't have his plate sitting down correctly, It was off, and tried to tighten it and broke off one of the tabs of the inner hub. So now we can go through and drive them down. Now, I like to just the feel of a T-handle just like that with my wrist. Now there is a proper torque spec that you can look up and you can torque it to that. It's fairly light, and I worry about guys breaking off bolts with an inaccurate torque wrench more so than just the feel of just their hand against the bolt, just like that. Now at this point, I like to come check the clutch to make sure that it feels okay. I can see that it's moving down here. So, and then I can check my play, and I don't have quite enough play. So I'm gonna back off the adjuster just a little bit. And this is a works connection, so it's a little bit different than maybe your stock one. But you're gonna back it out. You wanna make sure you always have play in your clutch. If you don't, that's gonna contribute to your clutch wearing out quicker than it should. So that feels pretty good. And you can see that everything's working like it should. So we have the gasket here. It's still in good shape, so there's no reason we have to replace it. So we can just reuse it, and it's stuck on there, so we can just drop it on and just keep it in its same place. It doesn't have any pins or anything holding it. So this is one, again, where I'd like to get everything started, make sure the gasket hasn't moved, and you get your bolts all inside the gasket, proper hole so you don't damage it. And now at this point, I'm going to kind of center this case and hold it with my thumb, and then start driving the bolts down. Guys will get really upset that you don't go in a cross pattern like this on everything, and it's not that critical on these. This isn't like head bolts or anything like that, so you can just simply go around like this. And this is the same kind of thing. I'm tightening kind of the same way, just boom, walking up on it. That's a fun bike. So hopefully that helps you out in your tips when you're replacing your Rekluse TorqDrive. And again, Rekluse isn't just auto clutches. Got some great clutch options for you guys. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time in the track or trail.